Hey, hello everybody. Come on in, get your coffee. It's time for Coffee with Scott Adams. I've got to learn to say that so it sounds more like a logo. Coffee with Scott Adams. I probably need somebody else to say it. Trump up 6. Was that the Rasmussen poll? I haven't seen that poll yet. That's right, it's not coffee, it's coffee. Adventurous? Not so much. Actually, I would say probably adventurous psychologically and mentally. But that was the LA poll. I'm not adventurous in terms of extreme sports. The prophet of Keck. I could handle that title. Trump's on Oz today. Will Hillary skip the debate? No, not a chance. Skipping the debate would be quitting, basically, and that's not going to happen. Your new puppy ran away? What? Are people from New York all the same? We're not all the same, but I will tell you what is the same is that we have a tendency to swear and make references to violence that we don't really mean. Has everybody read my blog this morning? If not, why the hell are you here? You should be reading my blog. I just posted. Where's Christina from? She's from America. She's my neighbor. Calling it in. You should disavow me. Yeah, I tweeted that my blog is up. Can you have a 10-minute break to read my blog? 19% black vote for Trump? That's the highest it's been, right? Rasmussen has 23%. You know what's interesting about this point? I don't know if I'll write about this. I might. But if you were watching the news the day that Clinton collapsed at the 9/11 event, for a moment I couldn't remember what day that was, but I'm guessing it was 9/11. Did you see the faces of all the surrogates, the Clinton surrogates, as well as, I guess some people would say that the mainstream media are also her surrogates, some of them. Did you see what the surrogates look like for the next 48 hours after that? Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but remember, I'm trained to read faces, trained hypnotist. They look defeated. Yeah, but they looked defeated in a specific way. They looked like they knew that nothing could fix it now. It wasn't rattled, it was defeated. Rattled means, hey, we're still in this. I don't think, here's my thought. I don't believe there's any professional person in the media, let's say, anyone from Jake Tapper to Anderson Cooper to anybody on Fox News, anybody in that class, any of the top writers for the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, anybody who's following this closely already knows it's over. They can't really say that because that ruins the whole we have news every day thing, right? You can't just stop following the election. And I suppose something could happen, Clinton or Trump could actually shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue. But short of that, it's already over, all right? It was over when she collapsed on the 9/11 anniversary. So we have this absurd situation where the mainstream media needs to keep acting like there's still a contest. If the contest had been, a 20-point gap in the polls in either direction, they'd still have to act like they're sort of a contest, right? Because that's what they do for a living. So they would probably try to guide things toward closing the gap to make it more interesting so you'd consume more news. And you're seeing them try to do that. But the difference is they know it's over this time. If there's just a big gap in the polls, you say to yourself, well, anything can happen. In the past, polls have changed quite a bit. They go up, they go down. So there would be plenty of reason to think if the only problem was that the polls were in one direction, things might change. But when Clinton collapsed, and in that particular time and place, the symbol of our greatest fears and our greatest heroism and, just the most important, I would say the only holy spot in the United States. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say that 9/11 is the only holy spot in the consciousness of America. It's the one place that we care the most about. So collapsing there wasn't like, falling over in your bedroom and there was a report about it later. I mean, it's a whole different deal. The optics of it make it a sort of a self-kill shot. Pearl Harbor was. Yeah, I guess that's true. Let's say Pearl Harbor's a tie. I was thinking of, for no particular reason, I was thinking of the mainland, but yeah, Pearl Harbor. You're right. You're just glad someone got it on film. Yeah. Who was that, by the way? Who got that on film? Pepe. Oh, God, that's funny. Some random Czech dude. Okay. So some dead guy. Yeah. So I have to admit, I was not a fan of any of this, Pepe stuff or Keck or any of that. And then I read that long article that I mentioned. I'm sorry, I don't have a link to it. It totally changed it because it's way more fun than I thought. Because I actually thought it was maybe sort of a racist thing. But when you actually dig into it, it's sort of ridiculous in all the right ways. It's sort of ridiculous in a science fiction kind of, flying spaghetti monster, pastafarian kind of a way. I couldn't be happier about it. Do you think Obama campaigning for her will help? Well, I tweeted yesterday or the other day that, we've got a lame duck campaigning for trying to reanimate a corpse. I don't know, can a lame duck reanimate a corpse when the corpse is on record through WikiLeaks as saying that that the corpse doesn't like the duck? Mm-hmm. It's terrible optics. Chow Live? You mean Now Live? Talk about the attorney hypnotist. Oh, yeah, there was a story in the news about an attorney who apparently was also a trained hypnotist who was alleged, and I guess he took some kind of a deal, so it didn't go to trial. But he was alleged to have used his hypnosis skills to seduce his clients and turn them into love slaves. But here's the problem with that. First of all, he totally would have won if he took it to court. Do you know why he would have won? If the lawyer who was a hypnotist had gone to court, a trial jury by trial, he totally would have won. And here's the reason. There's no evidence that people under hypnosis are doing anything they don't want to do. Hypnosis is best when it's something that you didn't mind doing. So that makes a big difference. And secondly, did I mention he was an attorney who was also a hypnotist? All you have to do is put him in front of the jury and it would be over. It's funny. But for practical reasons, he didn't want, the story to be living out there. He didn't want to have to spend the money, get more witnesses. So, he settled, pled guilty or whatever he did. But he probably did the smart thing. Is it possible to use hypnosis for sex or getting a girlfriend? Well, hypnosis is good for everything, but it's not a brainwashing magic. You can't just suddenly make people do stuff they don't want to do. So it's not that, but it can cause people to see things in a different framework. It can cause people to be relaxed. You could cause people to associate thoughts of you with happy things instead of negative things. So there's lots you can do, but they're all within the realm of normal seduction, just somebody who knows how to do it a little better. You use hypnosis to get laid? Of course. But not because you're turning somebody into, some kind of a Bill Cosby, unconscious victim. It doesn't work that way. What is a double bind? Just Google that. Just Google double bind. There's all kinds of information on that. Do I have a pendulum? No, it turns out that hypnosis doesn't require a pendulum. Hypnosis is entirely idea related. It's not really related to the is a video hypnotist giving women an orgasm by hypnosis. Well, that you can do. Yeah, you can induce orgasms by suggestion. Don't ask me how I know that. But yeah, that's something a hypnotist can do fairly easily. But you have to have a subject who doesn't mind having an orgasm, either in front of the hypnotist or in front of an audience, if that's where it happens. Have you read Lakoff? Is it Lakoff? I haven't. I'm pretty sure I know most of what he talks about from other sources. He's a Berkeley guy like me. Go Bears. Where's the pendulum thing start? That's just the movie thing. I think there was originally some specific one movie that a hypnotist used a pendulum, and I don't know what that movie was, but I think that's where it all started. Trump's big government stuff isn't good. So the whole big government thing is lazy thinking. Because it would only take you about 30 seconds to think of a whole bunch of good things the big government did. So, if you're treating it like an absolute, you're not really participating in conversation. It's not all bad, it's not all good. We don't live in a world that has one variable. Turns out it's a complicated world. Every situation is kind of different. Your analogies of the past, they never work. They don't sometimes work. They absolutely fucking never work. So whatever you thought was a bad idea in the past, it doesn't mean anything about the future. Yeah, incompetent government is bad. But beyond that, there are some programs that probably seemed like a good idea and they just didn't work out. You are bigger than my grandpa's father. What? Is Hillary alive? I believe she is. Do you think Hillary herself knows it's over? Probably not, because the cognitive dissonance would be so strong in her situation that she wouldn't be able to wrap her mind around the fact that it's over. And it's not, there's nothing that's 100%, right? I've said from the beginning that Trump's odds of winning in a landslide were 98%. So there's always a 2%. And if I were Clinton and I got this far, I would certainly hang in there and fight for the 2%. But the rest of us don't need to think that way. Debate predictions, nothing will happen. I predict that the debates will create minor news, a gaffe here or there, a fact that didn't pass the fact checking, well, lots of facts that didn't pass the fact checking. I predict no coughing fit. I predict Trump will be on better behavior than you would expect, but he's still going to have to make a little news probably. So he's not going to go super soft, but he's going to be presidential. He'll stay in his lane. Will I marry you? Well, you seem like a nice guy. I don't see why not. Will he make news if she faints again? Yeah, I think the best job that Clinton can do would be a good job, because people expect her to do a good job. She's not a great debater, but she's going to be solid. She'll have the facts. I don't think she'll be flappable in this. I'd be surprised if anything interesting happens on the debates at all. And Trump's, so nothing should happen that's interesting on the Clinton side, because we know her and she doesn't do surprising things. On the Trump side, he can do surprising things, but it is no longer in his interest, because the polls have turned for him, and largely because he's acting presidential. You know, some of it is what's happening on Clinton's end, but the more presidential he acts, the better he's doing. So I see no reason that he would try to make news at the debate. That would be a bad idea. Why are the betting markets giving Trump only a 30% chance? Well, weren't they giving him a 13% chance like 2 days ago? And what, you know, all that means is that people still don't think he's going to win. That doesn't mean they're right. The alt-right speech was surprising. It was surprising, I guess. Yeah, but that's not the sort of thing you trot out in a debate. Oh, he's doing an economic speech now? Is that what's happening now? Well, the betting markets were all wrong about the primaries, right? Nate Silver was all wrong about the primaries. Who's the one person who was right about the primaries? 2 people. Ann Coulter, me, 3 people. Mike Cernovich. Actually, there were a few dozen of us who were looking at things through a different filter. Now, Ann Coulter's filter was policy, and immigration in particular. My filter and Mike Cernovich and others was more about persuasion, more about the power of influence you would bring to it. And those of us got it right. 3.5 economic growth. Do I have money on Trump? I wouldn't tell you if I did. Bill Mitchell, yes. He was also an early one. I think you have to distinguish between people who are just early Trump supporters and optimistic, because they weren't using a particular reason. It was sort of wishful thinking. But the difference between them and Ann Coulter and me and Mike Cernovich, just to name 3, is that we had specific theses as to why he would prevail. And I think the immigration idea was perfectly sensible in the primaries, but now that we've seen he's softened, especially about the deportation part, I think you'd have to argue that persuasion is the primary variable, because the policy changed. You know, the persuasion didn't. The policy did. Does Trump know it's over? Yes and no. I think Trump knows it in his gut that if nothing strange happens, that it's over. So yes, I think he knows it in his gut. But I think he also knows that that's the last way he wants to think and act. I think he knows that if he's smart, yeah, Chateau heard his predicted 2 based on his alpha personality, which is a big part of persuasion. So I'm going to give more than partial credit to that, but it's slightly different than what I was going after. So to answer your question, I think Trump doesn't want to accept rationally that it's over, because that would make him act differently, and it's not time to act differently. It's time to double down on seriousness. It's time to put it all on the table. He can rest after November, but he's not going to rest between now and Election Day. I think he's going to go all the way. Moreover, he hasn't talked too much about landslide. I think he's probably mentioned something along those ways about winning bigly or big league. as you prefer. But as the polls continue to widen, and they will up to Election Day, he's going to, strategically, he's going to change his focus when that happens. And the focus is going to be not on winning, because that's largely in the bag already. It's going to be on winning in a landslide. And the reason for that is that if you win in a landslide, it gives you power. It gives you capability. It gives you a mandate. It lets you do the things that you want to do. So very soon, he's going to switch gears from just trying to win to trying to win bigly, because that gives him more power as a president. So what you're going to see is Clinton telling him, or Trump telling himself, put his head down, double down, triple down, however serious he's been, go twice as serious. So you're going to see Super Trump for the next month like you've never seen before. He does love winning. Your writing is life-saving? Thank you. My husband has come around. Do you like his odds of getting things done as president? I like the odds that things will be changed. They'll be different. He's the hero we deserve. The oligarchs won't hesitate to assassinate Trump. Would you fuck with Trump? Even if you're an oligarch, even if you think there's some kind of an Illuminati, even if you're another billionaire who wishes it were you, would you fuck with Trump now? That would be a really bad idea. My Pakistani roommate's parents are voting Trump. There's going to be a lot of that. Why won't Christina return my calls? Mark Cuban will. Yeah. Mark Cuban is playing this rather cleverly, because I think he is setting himself up to be a logical go-to for a future election, to at least be one of the people in the running. And like Trump, I think he may be thinking it's not this election and probably not the next election, but maybe the one after, when he's just that perfect age. Or will he be too old then? I don't know. Yeah, so Cuban is keeping himself in the public eye. He's showing that he's his own person. Cuban seems dumb. Well, I don't think he could be too dumb to get where he's gotten to. I would say that in my opinion, his public views on politics have so far been unsophisticated. Oh, he's 58? Cuban's my age? Damn, he's in good shape. So whatever he's doing, he's doing a good job of it physically. The guy's in great shape. He isn't presidential material. Has the Republican Party changed? I think they have changed permanently, yeah. The Republican Party is what Trump is turning them into. And by the way, I've never seen isn't it odd that the political party, that the Republicans seem to be so willing to adopt his brand? Far more than I thought would be the case. Ted Cruz is now a Democrat. I don't know a good book or course on hypnosis, but check my Persuasion reading list. Just Google that term, Persuasion reading list, for books. Can they steal the election? It's possible. But if the polls are wide enough before the vote, it just becomes impossible. What about Roger Stone? Is there a question about him? I don't know much about Roger Stone, so I'm not sure I would answer it anyway. Yeah, I think you can move the election 2%. That's about what I would say for stealing an election, about 2%. But remember, if you move 2% from one column to the other, it's a 4% swing. You won't leave me after the election. 6 group theory? I don't know what you're talking about. What do I think about iOS 10? I haven't really played with it yet. Donald Trump Jr. president in the future? I would say that's a good chance. Yeah, whether or not Trump makes it all the way. Will Obama tank the stock market? No, he won't. Oh, Stone did the superhero thing. So yeah, if you didn't notice, there's a giant billboard, I guess, in Times Square of Trump in a Superman outfit, looking like a superhero. And probably your reaction to that is, oh God, that's just ridiculous, and that's so over the top, and that's not politics, and that's just bullshit, and that's wasting our time, and why did anybody do that? You might be thinking that. You'd be completely wrong. Completely wrong. Because Roger Stone is working on a persuasion level. And the more you think of Trump and Superman together, even if while you're thinking, you're saying, Trump is not like Superman. He's not like that at all. Hey, there he is, looking like Superman, which he's not. Trump like Superman, he's not. I swear to you, Trump is not Superman. He's not Superman. He's not Superman. And at the end, all you think is Trump and Superman. It's fucking genius, right? But I'll even go further. If Trump had put his own sign up there that said, I'm Superman, that would be ridiculous and he would be mocked to death. But it wasn't him. It was somebody at, at least enough of a distance that he can say it was his own thing. So Roger Stone puts it up there, big poster of Trump as Superman. What are the odds that will cause some positive association that transfers to Trump? What are the odds that will happen? 100%. 100%. In terms of doing something that could make a difference and really doesn't have a downside, the only thing it has is an upside. The only thing you don't know is how much. Probably not, not a election changing kind of shift, but it's, one more brick in the wall, so to speak. No pun intended. So yeah, it totally helped. It was smart. It was a good play. Am I going to watch Oz today? Maybe. Depends on what time it's on. What time does Oz air? Is it 1 o'clock Pacific time? Oh, it's by somebody else. Well, it doesn't matter who it's by. It still helps Trump. Forward to Trump. We're not moving? No way. No way. All right, somebody's got to confirm that. Did Ford change its plans to move to Mexico? That's not real, is it? That would be like the biggest story in the country. Did anybody see that? Checking now. Please check that. Somebody's saying yes. Now, if you're saying yes, are you saying that, are they just clarifying and saying, no, we were not really going to move to Mexico, you got it wrong? Or are they saying we absolutely were planning to move to Mexico and we changed our mind? No fucking way. Are you fucking kidding me? Wait, small car production. I should probably read the headline, though. They are moving. They changed their mind. So it's ambiguous, right? They are going. So they are going or they are not going. All compacts are moving. They're moving small cars, but not... Oh, so Trump had it wrong. Okay. So nothing's changed, right? Are you all confirming that nothing is changing? Ford is just going to do what they were already going to do? Is that... Who's saying no? All right. But Ford is doing what they said they were going to do, which is moving some stuff to Mexico. So there's nothing that's happening that isn't the same as yesterday, right? Not closing plant. All right, so it's just some confusion. All right, so it wasn't a big story, just some confusion. All right. Have you all read my blog post today? While you're doing that, I'm going to check my stats. Small cars. Yeah, poor Hillary Clinton. You know, this is one of the reasons that reality looks like it's scripted. It looks like we're software. If you were to say that Hillary Clinton would fall sick and her illness would be the biggest story in the country, at the same time she was scheduled to be on the cover of Women's Health magazine, no one would have believed that. That is the worst luck anybody ever had. I mean, and I actually just feel bad about that part. It was just, I mean, you can't feel good about that. That's just fucked up. That is terrible, terrible luck. All right. Let me look at my Google Analytics and see how people are liking my blog post today. Doing really well. Blog is zooming. Traffic is high. Looks like a few people are linking to it from other sites, Reddit, Facebook, all coming over, still coming over from some other of the big sites. Google Analytics equals porn. Today's blog was awesome. Thank you. I'll probably have to let you go read it in a minute. Yeah, I've got to go. More book sales. Did you notice that my book, I think I tweeted it. So there's a book I wrote that came out in 2001. Unfortunately, same time as 9/11 attacks. So the book, which I imagined would be a giant bestseller, got zero publicity for 3 months on launch because it was the worst time in American history to launch a book. But now, 15 years later, it's number one in its category. It's not number one book, but it's number one in its category, which means that if you want to read a book in that category, people think it's the best one at the moment. And you may ask yourself, how unusual is that? Is it because I'm getting some extra attention because of my blogging about Trump? Some of it is. But it's also because that book was written on a timer. And what I mean by that is that I intentionally wrote a book that I believed would not be popular for a few decades. And it's because the public wasn't quite there. Public was still seeing reality as this fixed set of stuff, and there were some people who could observe it better and some people who could observe it less well. But the public believed that there was something called reality, and we were all sort of looking at it. My perception is the opposite, that we don't see reality. We're all just playing a movie in our heads. And as long as my movie and your movie don't conflict, it doesn't matter that I've got my headphones in the plane watching one movie and you've got another movie on yours. The plane lands in the same place. We both got to the same place. We both lived. And that's all that's required of our consciousness. Just keep us alive. That's all it needs to do. So God's Debris was a book that was intended to be a generation or so ahead of its time, so that it'd be there when it was time. And now it's time. I told you a year ago, if you were watching me blog and tweet about the election, that the emergence of Trump was going to change way more than politics. It's going to change more than policies and economics and all the things that presidents touch. It's going to change the way humans view their place in the world. It's going to change your very sense of reality. Right in front of you, he's showing you that facts don't matter. The truth doesn't matter. Policies don't matter. Experience doesn't matter. Being offensive doesn't matter. Everything you fucking thought was true, he just showed you doesn't matter. That's what I was waiting for. That's why the book's taking off now. Because when you read it now, in the frame of the year 2016, suddenly it all makes sense. If you read it 15 years ago, it just looked a little crazy. You probably said to yourself, well, enjoy your LSD, cartoon boy, because this shit's just whack. But read it now. Remember your Trump history. Remember that he's shown you facts don't matter. Reality is malleable. That, you think A is bigger than B today, but tomorrow you're going to think B is bigger than A because you've been persuaded. So you're living in this big illusion, and that book is about that. Meme warfare. Yeah, so I've been reading a little bit about meme magic, the idea that the memes, the ideas and the pictures, the memes coming out of, I guess, 4chan and all the peppy people, the alt-right, all those folks. The question is, are they actually changing reality? Do the memes do more than just, say, get you a laugh and influence some people? Do the memes actually change your reality? And that's crazy, right? I mean, these are just, jokes and slogans on funny pictures that are going around the internet. So that's not something that changes reality, right? That just gives you a laugh, maybe makes you think differently about something a little bit, but it doesn't change reality. That's what you think, right? You are so wrong. Those things are changing reality. They are totally changing reality. And the way they're doing that is that your reality was always subjective. It was never objective. So, in all the ways that you experience reality, they do change it, right? Because you don't have the capacity to see baseline reality, if there is one. I don't even know if there is one. Nor do I think there's any way to know that. But the memes are changing how we perceive reality, and so for all practical purposes, the memes are magic. I'm using the word in a colorful sense, but they are changing your reality in a way that you would associate with magic if you thought reality was fixed and objective. It isn't. It's not fixed and objective. We're all in our own little movie, and those memes are changing the movie. So yeah, they're changing reality. The map is sometimes the territory. Exactly. Yeah, you better get your coffee before these thoughts, Lisa. Is this happening because people are dumber now? So my nose is itching again. Damn it, I hate this. This happens every time I get on here. I swear there's nothing wrong with my nose. It's just itchy. And it's just psychological. What was I going to talk about? I think it was something good. Did I hear what Comey said? No, I didn't. What did Comey say? Law of attraction. I haven't read the law of attraction, but the way it's not crazy. All right, hold on a second. The way it's not crazy, the law of attraction, is that it might change your perception of your reality. And if your perception changes to make you happier, it's kind of like magic. Oh, are people dumber now? Yes. So, I joked a long time ago that the reason we don't understand how the pyramids were built, how'd they move those heavy rocks, how'd they do that exquisite engineering and all that. I said, well, there's an obvious hypothesis that seems to be widely ignored. And the hypothesis is that people have gotten stupider. Maybe we were just smarter back then. Now, it's possible that we had way less technology because technology just takes a while, right? It just takes a long time to build technology because all technology builds on other technology. You can't build a computer until somebody has developed materials and all the components of a computer, right? So the computer is not the invention. It's the culmination of lots of inventions that are cleverly put together. So I've got a hypothesis, and I saw somebody else say this, so this is not my original work, right? That people actually were a lot smarter back then. They just didn't have technology, so there wasn't much they could do about it. They had to wait a long time for all the moving parts to be put together to what we have now. Because if you look at even, let's say, how the founding fathers wrote, the things they learned, the things they studied, the things they did, they seem kind of smart to me. It actually does seem like we got dumber. Now, I don't know if that's just, I think far more likely, the smartest people among us have probably gotten smarter, and maybe the average person may have gotten dumber, or not. I don't know. It's possible, but I think you actually have to consider a hypothesis that people were literally smarter back in Egyptian times. It's possible, right? They just didn't have technology because it takes a long time to develop it, but they might have been smarter. Would you have patience? Yeah, right. We don't have any patience for doing the things that they did, and that patience probably allowed them to think deeply. Whatnot is a funny word, isn't it? I like using it. It's like your policies and whatnot. It's funny because it's just a non-common word, but it minimizes whatever's in your sentence. It's your World War II and whatnot. Am I depressed? I am not. IQ higher now because of selective evolution. Yes. So that's a real thing. So in the old days, I've talked about this before, you married whoever was nearby because you couldn't really travel, so you just married the daughter of the farmer next door. But now you can use the internet to find the perfect person no matter where they are. You can move there, you can get a job there. And suddenly, if you're growing up in Silicon Valley, the odds are that, if you have two parents who both lived and worked in Silicon Valley, you're probably a genius because your parents probably both of them were. All right. So yeah, I think we're developing some kind of H.G. Wells time machine kind of ELOC situation where there are going to be super smart people who were born of super smart people having babies that got married to other super smart people. So we're about 5 generations from the smartest people being practically a different species, and not in a good way, because they're not even going to be able to communicate with the rest of us. They're just going to fucking hate being alive, surrounded by idiots. But at the same time, my assistant is here, and I'm going to sign off now. Hold on.